I used to get so embarrassed when I was doing this stuff. I used to get so cringed out. I don't know. I just used to. Super confident in real life, but as soon as you start to do this, I used to get really but now I just don't care. I'm so over myself now, so it's absolutely
Wait till
fine.
you're my age, you'll care less. It's wonderful being old.
You're not old. Well, so Katrina, welcome to the Holistic Recruiter Club. I'm really happy to have you on here. I know
Thank
we've
you.
we've had some lovely little conversations before today, and I
Rants.
really appreciate we did. It was just rants, wasn't it? This
It
is
was
why I was
total
like,
rants.
and the moment you offered to come onto the podcast and have a rant with me, I thought, you know what? How can I say no? So for those that have been under a rock for the last however many years, do you want to tell everybody just who you are and a little bit about you?
Yes, so I'm Katrina Collier. I have scarily been in the recruiting profession, let's call it that, for 20 years. 20 years. Shoot me now. I fell into it because nobody chooses it. I have been agency in-house. I've been a trainer. I'm best known as the author of the Robot Proof Recruiter that I shamelessly plug.
And you can buy on all good leading stores like Amazon,
absolutely,
right?
you can buy it everywhere. And I donated my royalties to charity, so buy 5. And I am a facilitator, so I run design thinking workshops with companies usually to kind of fix the collaboration chaos that's really going on between recruiters and managers. What else do? I speak a lot. I'm actually just booked my 6th continent. I've spoken on 5 continents. I'll get my 6th finally this year. So yeah, super excited. Speaking in Colombia in September.
It's going to be fun. What's the topic? What are you going to be talking about?
It'll be something to do with hiring managers and recruiters. It always is. Fun.
Yeah.
Because it's the problem. It's the thing that's broken that won't be fixed by technology. And all of this, hence this was called the Robot Proof Recruiter. This was back when just normal HR tech was saying we're replaceable. And now we've got AI. Like, we're not replaceable. And I can prove it. So, but you do have to step up.
But this is the thing, right? So when we were speaking before, we were like, we both agreed that it's broken, right? To some degree, it's broken. Yeah. Well, it's
really bent out of shape.
You think he's bent out of shape. I think he's completely and utterly broken. Yeah. And I think what happens is, I think that there's been a TA in its current form is actually still quite a baby. Right. It's still relatively new when it comes to an actual discipline inside an organization. Yeah. And I don't need to tell you this, but all of the research, all of the people I speak to, a lot of people are feeling overworked, undervalued, not listened to. Yeah. They are not seen to be strategic, but want to be. They don't have a seat at the table.
Neither does HR.
Exactly. And they're never given that path to come through. No. And
it is extraordinary. So 2 things on that. One, if you went to my website, you would see I have written TA has a perception problem on the homepage.
Yeah.
I mean, that because it does. But I'm also writing a second business book right now called Conquer Hiring. And that is for managers and leaders. And I have literally just written what you're talking about, which is talent acquisition is a new function in comparison to human resources, which has been around since the 50s, sales, marketing, finance, production. All of those departments are really familiar to leaders and managers. But you come this, I'm sorry, what is talent acquisition? And really in its current form, it's probably 5 years old or even 10 years old, right? It's new. And they don't really get what we do. What they think we do is we put an advertisement out, CVs come in, and we shove them over to the hiring manager. They don't understand. And unless we speak up and tell them that, they don't understand. But the problem is, and this is what I come up against time and time again with clients, the managers won't turn up for the job brief kickoff call, the intake strategy session, the whatever we call that call. Like I just put a poll on LinkedIn and everyone has a different name for it.
Yeah.
That meeting, right? They don't turn up because they don't understand how important it is. So hence, literally, that's what I'm writing about in this talk is why it matters and what TA is.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the thing that's breaking recruitment.
And I think that one of my old co-founders, Chantel Wilson, right? She's a people director in hospitality, but I think it's still transferable, right?
Tough industry.
And she always said to me that for her, human resources in today's world is compliance. It's keeping the founders and exec teams out of jail, right? This is how she likes to frame it. The people ops and head of people, this type of role is very much about how can you give your people the best experience possible. And that's all about pushing them in a state of flow. So they're not dealing with all the crap. They've got a high level of skill and a high level of challenge, which means they're operating at the best possible way. And then you've also got talent acquisition. And talent acquisition is about the acquisition, but it's not just about the acquisition. It's about helping them throughout their whole journey. Because how many times...
It has become that way, yeah.
Exactly, and that's how it should be. And I think there's a misunderstanding about
really
what talent role is. Go on.
Okay, what's really wrong is HR. So, like, no offense, HR listeners. Because if you look at the events run by any of the major HR bodies, SHRM, CIPD, you name it, where is talent acquisition? So I was an advisor for HR director events. And every single time I go, where's talent acquisition? Where's talent acquisition? Where's talent? Because if you talk to the leaders of the business, their biggest problem is talent, is recruitment and retention. I understand we've had layoffs. That's because people overhired. Let's be honest. Okay, they went on this ridiculous overhiring spree from overfiring previously. But once we settle back out, it will go back to the biggest problem is recruitment and retention, which is because you can see all the other jobs out there on the internet and you can leave, right? So no one stays anymore. So big problem. But where is it on the agenda of these bodies? It is not there. Now, I have many HR professionals in my network and I have spoken to many over the years. I used to run Disrupt HR London. I know many of them and most of them will say how much they hate recruiting.
And why do they hate recruitment, Katrina?
You've got the talent acquisition function that's too often stuck in the HR function, which in my humble opinion, it shouldn't be because they're more like siblings than a department. And if the people bringing in the people brought in better people, HR would have less to do in the respect of, all of that stuff you were just talking about, protecting behaviors and performance management. Instead, they could actually be making sure that people are happy and developing them and doing that with their free time. But there's this, we hate each other, we don't like it, we don't enjoy it, and it's ridiculous.
There's a combative part to it. And just to build on what
only time I see talent acquisition on a HR event in like agenda is when it's something like HR technologies. It's one of those. Then it's there. But it's crazy. Future of work, all of them. I looked at about I think 10 last week because for another reason. And I was like, where's TA? Where's TA? And it just transform. There's a big one called Transform. So it's all about the future of the company. Well, surely that's also about the people you bring in. I mean, it's just, anyway.
But this is the thing. And if you look at all of the programs as well for founders, let's say for new founders, right? And they're going for accelerators and stuff like this, where at one point do they talk about talent? And they don't. Yeah. There isn't. No. I'm probably wrong. There's probably someone out there. Sorry for offending you, whatever. But there is so many of these that don't have that included. Yeah. And again, so immediately it's already down the agenda. It's like, how many people are we seeing who are head of TA and head of people and talent that have got 2 years experience? And you're basically entrusting your whole culture. And for me, that person who is in that role, coaching, of course, but
cost cutting.
Of course it is.
But this role is too important. Who have got 10 plus years experience, unless you're ancient like me and got 20. But I've seen this a lot. There are some seriously good, like heads of, directors of, who got laid off in last year and cannot get jobs. They're being aged out. And you're looking at it going, this is crazy. Because there are fewer and fewer people being born. So we've got a shortage of people coming up. We're all going to work longer because we're all living longer. But yet let's be ageist by people who are in their 40s who've got 10 years of experience, could do a great job. Their salaries are too high. Oh, well, we can get someone cheaper. And
salaries are too high.
And then you're trusting your whole entire future of your company because your company is people. People decide its fate. By people who are sadly inexperienced. But
we spoke about this before.
The attitude change at a different part.
So this is a point, right? And I think this kind of like nice segues into what we were talking about before, which is what is the problem? And I think we come to a consensus that it's perception. And then how do you upskill those people who are in that position? right?
Great
There is
question.
the only training I can see really is maybe a bit of growth marketing, which is a bit innovative. And then you have sourcing. But I mean, come on. Right. Where's the...
It is really interesting. There are programs out there. There's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more for the agency side. So you've got like recruiting gym.
Yes.
Who are amazing. And you'll have like copywriting courses. So there's brilliant stuff like that. But there's this gap, this problem in the middle of like, because it's a confidence thing. That's what I come up with all the time. Actually, I had somebody, on my personal side, I have written my memoir about overcoming my child abuse, which was all about going from self-hate and not confident to self-love and very confident. And I just wouldn't put up with some of the behavior that I hear in the industry. I would just tell a manager to sort themselves out. But I'm Australian and now very confident. But I had somebody apply to be on my podcast that I'm running with the memoir, and she has the imposter syndrome. And what she was saying was that it's permanent, which it's not, but it's created by the fact that managers ask for something ridiculous. So they'll ask for a unicorn. And they, as recruiters, don't feel like they had the confidence to push back and say, no, you're being unrealistic. You're going to waste everyone's time. You're going to make our reputation suck. Let me run a search and show you. Like, let's get real here. Like, what do you really need, right? They don't have the confidence to do that. So when they're searching for this unicorn that doesn't exist, their self-worth goes down and down and down and down. And they end up worse. So where's the training?
Yes.
There's been an attempt by ATAP, the Association for Talent Acquisition Professionals, but there's that thing. That's why I'm writing this book. So it's chapter 5 of the Robot Proof Recruiter for starters, and then this book, because it is the problem that it's a partnership. It's got to be confident, but where is? Well, other than me, who's screaming about it all the time, where is the training on this?
But I think we said so. I think that if we break that down to a real skill, right? That's like it's like effective disagreement or something, right? This is if I'm trying to think of what the skill and then exactly, and how do you challenge and be confident enough to challenge? Yeah. But then there's also...
So we're not going to teach those fluffy skills, are we? We'd rather teach them sourcing skills.
Exactly.
Which I have no problem with. I've got many, many friends who teach sourcing. But it's like, and I used to do it, but it's like, it's not the problem.
No, this is not the problem we're solving for.
Communication and collaboration.
Yeah. But then now we have this, right? Let's say this now exists. How many people are going to pay for that?
None.
No. And why?
Well, that's not true, actually.
No, but you know what I'm saying. But how many companies are willing to one? How many companies are willing to do that? And two, how many people are individually willing to invest in themselves in the space? And I find that a really underinvested thing.
The lack of. So I remember back in the day when LinkedIn kind of arrived on the scene, because I've been recruiting since before it became a big thing. Oh my God, I feel old. I paid for it. Didn't even enter my head not to pay for it.
Same.
I just paid for it, right?
Same.
And
yeah.
I do find it really interesting. I mean, I guess I run my own business, so I'm constantly reading books, and there's a whole bookshelf up here over behind me. It's important to me to do that, but there is an unwillingness. And I was, and I'm very thankful to everyone who signed up, because it did get me through the pandemic. But I created a mastermind, and I thought, oh God, there's lots of recruiters out there that are forever telling me about their esteem issues. They'll come and join it. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, maybe I'm just shit at marketing, which is also very true. But they weren't willing to invest in that soft skills. Those that did, oh my God, grew exponentially through it. But there is this real reluctance to kind of go, yeah, well, actually, my self-worth is a bit low. I really do want to come and join and be part of something and feel like I've got other people supporting me. But yeah, it was surprising. And it was nothing. It was like 50 quid a month. You're not like, it's not an absurd amount. But this is the point. And I find that, again, like even me, I've got like 16 years experience in the space. So I'm like you, been there with LinkedIn at the very beginning. And just that, I remember when I first started using LinkedIn, they, when you was in a recruitment agency. So you came in when the 2008 crash happened.
Yeah, exactly. I was one.
Interesting time to join.
Although I was quite lucky because I was doing a very niche. I was doing like mobile and app engineers. So I kind of like managed to smooth through that, snuck through that one. But LinkedIn was banned. they banned the LinkedIn
web
domain. You're like, why are you using this? Nobody's going to use that. Pick up the phone. I'm like, guys, come on. And I was like,
and actually, without that crash, sorry, I keep taking you off on a tangent. But without that crash, LinkedIn wouldn't have survived. The 2008-9 crash was when everybody flooded onto LinkedIn. If you look at the figures before then, and people joined before that to have a professional network, they didn't join for a job. Then the crash happened and it went, and then they started selling our data and it became the mess it is.
And this is it.
So
and
that's not where you were going, by the way.
But I think
with your 16
but there's also this. No, but I was just saying, I'm just like resonating with you because I've been through that path, right? You can see how this stuff, and I think it was you. We spoke about this before, and just saying about how
ranted.
When you were ranting to me about the fact that recruitment agencies have a very bad name, yet they're the ones that invest the most in their people, right? They're the ones that are maybe spending the most in training on
So I don't think I said they were dreadful.
No, it wasn't you. No, you didn't say they were dreadful, but there's a perception again. It's a perception thing of this.
There's a perception in no, because actually there's really good people. So Jeremy Snell's another one. He trained me way back at Spring Technology, way back 100 years ago. So he's a good one in that space as well. I think the perception comes into you've got balloons.
I
That's
have
beautiful.
No idea where the balloons came from. I did not do that. I didn't know that was even possible.
We're celebrating recruitment agency.
Yeah.
It's so funny when I speak to Glenn Martin a lot on Google. Love Glenn, he's brilliant. Yeah. And he'll do a thumbs up, and suddenly there's a thumbs up going past the screen. It's like, what the fuck? Anyway, I shouldn't swear. You're going to have to put this in as
no, we leave it.
So I think when we have a perception problem is when you get silly stuff. So like in-house recruiters will get a call. Or we'll get this like, oh, I tried to contact you and you didn't answer, when they haven't, their phone's sitting there. Or they'll send in a CV of somebody that they don't have permission to send it in. So you get that kind of the business development. I mean, I just had somebody comment on a post who's from agency, and she goes, well, when I'm talking to managers, I do blah, 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 blah. And so did you read my post? I was asking what name you used for the meeting. I wasn't asking you to sell yourself on my post. And so all I do is, I haven't deleted it yet, but usually I just delete the comment. Yeah. Because I'm like, this is why. But I think that it's hard. Back when I was doing it, I called somebody, their phone would ring and they'd answer it because it was annoying. And now my phone is sitting here. I guarantee if don't turn it over. There's messages galore on it, right? It's within reach and we ignore it. And it's hard, and nobody has desk phones, and how do you break in? So I think a lot of it comes back to that. But there is that I think poor candidates, they don't really understand that actually someone's working on a job, not working for the candidate, trying to place them. That only happens in high-level executive search, C-suite. Yeah. And I think that's a lot of the problem. But they genuinely, agency do have more training. But then they're often the ones that go in-house.
Yes.
I do find, grossly generalizing, there are exceptions. The in-house, the TA professionals that come up the HR admin route are never as strong as the ones that come in from agency.
I'm going to agree.
Usually have that drive. I want to really fill the role. And they'll just work that little bit harder, a little bit more proactively to fill it. But I think it's just generalizing.
Yeah, again, of course. So I don't think people should be offended by that, because there are good people out there from all. But it's just it's a general perception of it, Like there was one of the things that I see a lot is the TAs justifying their roles when they're in the job by finding data, right? Not understanding data, but just finding some numbers to share some data for sharing data's sake. And it's like, are you sharing that data because it's really going to help the process, or are you doing it to try and help you to be seen that you're doing a good job and to be seen that you're trying to keep up with the state of play? And
perception
again, it's exactly this. And it comes back to what you said, the confidence and having the ability to be able to stand up and say, well, no, this isn't working. And,
So it's a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of data they should keep, manager behavior, I think would be a great one. Somebody was talking about a HM satisfaction score the other day, and I went, please don't have one of those without a TA satisfaction score, because let's be real here. I did find writing the Robot Proof Recruiter that a lot of the industry stats are absolute bogus, so please make sure your stats are valid. But this goes back to the perception, and the thing I think that's gone down over the last 4 years, 3 and a bit years. Oh, so depressing. How is it? How's it been this long? Yet, like, really short at the same time. Was 2020 knee-jerk reaction. We've never been through this before, so let's go. Get rid of HR, TA, marketing. All of the fluff, right? Gone. Then we overhired 2021. Then we just overfired them again late 2022, 2023. It's like, I'm sorry, shouldn't we be firing the workforce planners and the CEOs who treated people like that and did that and had no forecasting and data and just went with gut instinct or copycat layoff? I've seen that as well. Oh, well, they're laying off. Let's lay off. It's just like, they're the people that recruit your people. They also have fully transferable skills that could be used in other areas. They could help your sales function, but perception problem, it is twofold. It is leaders not understanding what they do. It is them not being able to speak and say what they do because they won't listen, or they don't think to. I mean, maybe they don't think to say, do you think the CVs float down in the sky into my inbox? So can I tell you what I actually do?
Yeah.
And then the data should be, I approach 100 people. I'm lucky if one comes back, because you're not giving me the proper information I need so that I can get excited and go, we are looking for someone to come in and fix this problem. Please come and join us. Like, please. We need
come and
help
be a part
with
of it.
This.
Exactly.
And someone will be like, ooh, instead of, we're after a Java developer with 5 years experience.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly. But it's because, I'm going to keep saying this, aren't I? Intake. Job kickoff. Actually, someone said they call it a recruitment alignment meeting. And I was like, now that I really like, because you're aligning on the role, you're aligning on the behaviors, you're aligning on how we're going to partner, you're aligning on everything, like the duties, everything. I was like, ooh. That's what I'm going to use in content hiring.
That's so
You'll
important.
hear it called this, but this is what I think we should call it.
But I think this is the thing, right? You have this, and you still see all of the stats out there are still showing that people are the most common time for people to leave within the first 3 months. There's like a third of people are still leaving in the first 3 months because there's a misalignment between what they've been
articulate what they want.
Exactly. And then they arrive and they're like, oh my God, that's actually not what we needed. And then there's a misalignment. People are gone and they're gone. So again, alignment's probably the right one.
It is the easiest thing. How will you know at the end of 12 months that you've hired the right person? God, well, they'll have customer service skills. Oh my God, the last person we had, they really, really pissed the client off. It was absolutely dreadful. Please make sure they've got that. Well, that's not on the job description. Yeah. Oh, well, they're going to have delivered this project and my commission, my bonus is on the line for this. So they'll have delivered that early, on time, on budget. Well, that's not on the job description. So it's like the 12 months time. Steve Levy in chapter 5 of the Robot Proof Recruiter talks about what's the problem they're coming in to solve. Oh, well, they're going to fix this, right? People, engineers, I mean, they want to fix a problem, right? You're going to stand out. Can you come and help us fix this? Imagine that is the subject line instead of, I looked at your profile and I see that you have experience.
Do you want to have a chat?
Oh, do you know the worst thing that ever happened, and ChatGPT is exactly the same in my humble opinion, was that LinkedIn introduced templates. On top of selling all of our data without permission, it then introduced templates. So everybody reaches out in exactly the same way.
Yeah, there's no
authenticity. I came across your profile and I see that you have, I don't care.
I know. I think this is going to be where it changes. I think this is where you'll stand out more when people can tell that they can see it. It's going to change the way in which people stand out more. Yeah. So you're going to have to work on your own copywriting and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's already obvious who's using ChatGPT and who isn't.
Of course. So if you've used it, you know, right?
Yeah.
And so I have a question for you. And there's two things, right?
Fear.
Watch out. No, there's two things, and one probably more. I do want to touch on AI, right? I want to come to that because I think we can't. I think we'd be crazy not to talk about it. But job descriptions, okay? Why do we still have a traditional job description? Why? I've seen some people trying to push it, but it's not really come to fruition yet. But why can't we just have a job description of the manager explaining what they need? On the top bit with a little bit of a caption
to turn up to the
exactly
job briefing.
My point, but why can't we think a little bit differently and try and make a make it like, think about
Do you
how
remember when you
marketing
said
people
at the
do it.
beginning that talent acquisition has a perception problem?
Yeah.
So there are companies out there that are succeeding doing that, and they usually have an employer branding specialist, somebody else who's usually been fired during this turbulent time of the 2020s. So yes, there are exceptions. And there's great technology to help you do that as well. But if we can't even get the manager to turn up to a briefing, and honestly, I'm serious, they don't. Not all, but the vast majority avoid it like the plague. And it makes sense that they do. They are overloaded. They're down a person. Their team is probably complaining. They've probably got flight risk in their team. They've got their own management duties. Then they've got their own actual duties. And then on it goes. Their boss is giving them pressure. Their team's like, it is not a fun job. And then we're going, hello, can we actually talk about that job? We're trying to help you here. Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. It would be amazing. But even asking those questions I was talking about, like, how will you know at the end of 12 months? They're going to get so excited when they start talking to you that they're going to go on beyond 5 minutes as well. Like they'll just go off on one because they'll be excited and they'll be thinking, and you got them thinking. So immediately you've got their respect. You can use that in the job post, the job advertisement, rather than the job description.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Because remember as well, most of the time the job description is like the ingredients on a Coca-Cola bottle, and Coca-Cola would never advertise the sugar and all the stuff the acid that makes your teeth rot on. It's like taste the difference or whatever.
I would love to see job descriptions that tell you the bad stuff. I would say, look, yes, we're doing some really cool stuff. This is what we want you to come and work on, but this is the shit we have. This is the bad stuff that we're working on. Like, I know. Like,
you could say that, but the trouble you'll get into is I've also seen it where they've gone, we work long hours, we're pressured, and then problems to fix.
Yeah,
yes.
This I mean, like, what are the real like problems we're facing right now, or what are the challenges we need to work on? Like, and just be.
But why they won't do that? Do you remember at the beginning where you were saying about how you're really confident in public, but you put a video on, you're like,
yeah.
Who's going to be that vulnerable? Who's going to say our company has this problem? They've probably got shareholders, they've got VCs.
Could you imagine how much authenticity that gives, though?
I get it. I love it. I think in the future it will actually be more prevalent. But there's also we have shareholders to appease.
Yeah,
we don't want people getting unsettled because we go, there's a problem. I mean, look at the dreadful thing that just happened in the post office for keeping up face and hiding problems and all of those lives destroyed because the software was at fault. But we can't admit that, even though the CEO knew that. It's like hide. So yeah, bigger problem than that. So
yeah, I would love to see this in the future,
I think if recruiters could start going, I'm not working on a role without a proper recruitment alignment meeting. Gosh, I'm loving that. I'm not doing it. And I do see it. I have recruiters. I have recruiters who'll do things like close the requirement because they've tried 4 or 5 times to get the hiring manager to meet and they won't. So they just close the requirement. And then the hiring manager, boom, is like, what are you doing? Or goes, oh, thanks, actually, we got rid of the role. So it's like, don't work on it without it. And I think if they then do that and they start building that trust, they start asking, see, what you got to do is you've got to hit them with a question straight away that makes them think. Literally, boom, in the forehead. Not like, don't go through the job description. Ask them that question. End of 12 months. How you've hired the right person? Oh, you've got their respect instantly because they're thinking. So if we started doing that, then we could say, hey, can I record this? Could we make a video of this? Like, we're already online. Give me the elevator pitch. Tell me in 30 seconds, right? May I talk to the team? Because another biggest problem that we've got out there is managers, hiring managers, which we shouldn't call them hiring managers because they're not managing the process. We are. But anyway, that's another one. They think that we don't know what we're looking for. Well, of course we don't know what we're looking for. They're not telling us and we don't do the job. They're experts in whatever they do. We're experts in recruitment. If you don't tell us what you're looking for, you can't complain that we're not finding it.
But really, the parallels between product and tech here are uncanny because the story's not being created properly, it's not been scoped properly. Then for the tech team, and the tech teams will we can't do this because it's not done right. And then the product teams, we've done everything we need, and it's exactly the same. And it comes back to how do we fight effectively?
There's I'm Blackheath. As you come back from over from Greenwich, you come down to the church. It's really funny because the path is built like this around a lamppost, like in a triangle, but everyone just cuts the corner straight through. And it's like that usual thing. Like, what's the actual human? Oh, but we want them to go on this convoluted, but they don't want to.
Yeah,
it's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
I remember
the
years
manager
ago
wants
seeing.
to go there, but we need to take them on this journey around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. There was something about that with UX. It's like what the designer wants you to do, but when the user actually does, like across the path type of stuff.
Oh, now that's what I was going to say. So thank you for saying that. I remember somebody taking Adele's. Actually, I'm sure the example's in the Robot Proof Recruiter. Adele's song "Hello." It's just so depressing. But anyway, obviously fabulous, but so depressing. And they did it as a takeoff for the job of who they were looking, and then they put it on Facebook. Now, when you click the link to apply, you ended up on the world's most boring LinkedIn job description. They didn't even have the sense to take you straight to their website, to their applicant tracking system, or even just to an email with a CV attached. Let's be honest. So that's the other problem. So if you're going to then go, we've got this amazing video, great. What are the steps that the human being's going to go through, hopefully as little as possible, to actually apply once they see this? Wow, look how creative they are. They're amazing. And then, oh, God, I've got to create an account just to apply. And they're using some crap ATS that sucks the innovator.
Or you use a tool to apply, and then the recruiter gets that through the tool, and they're like, oh, now you need to apply on our website as well. And you're like, why? So AI in talent acquisition, right? We are seeing a huge rise in AI tools for the actual candidates. Are you...
As in getting them to use them?
So using it to candidates, I've seen a few tools where candidates can now just use AI to help them create their CV, but nothing really too new there because there was stuff like that, but there's a much more advanced version of that. There's other tools now that you can upload the job description or then tailor your CV based on that job description.
Oh, good for them.
And there's also other ones where you can now mass apply to hundreds of jobs in 1 second, or 10 seconds, whatever it is, based on this, right? Based on your search of what you're looking for, all this type of stuff, rather than you manually doing it.
Bitch, isn't it?
And it's also creating the cover letters, right? Based on your CV and this stuff. So I've seen a big divide about this in the market. And I really feel like, do you know what? Recruiters are using this. 70% of candidates are rejected because of ATS filters to stop you getting in. So of course they're going to increase their chances to get a job. So where's your view on this?
Okay. Yeah, payback's a bitch. That's all I'll say. Because 2 keyword search, LinkedIn, InMail, mass InMail, InMall. InMall, as Steve Levy calls it, InMall. Gosh, I mention him a lot. He is rather fabulous. I don't know why I'm mentioning him so much. So we've been doing it for years, right? We have been treating candidates and actually just users of social media sites like crap for years. So it's like a bit of payback going on. ATSs do not reject people. There are knockout questions that reject people, and then there is a human being that rejects people. It won't. There'll be a reason.
But there's now AI layers going on top that are using to filter.
I don't know how true that is in reality. In reality, I don't think so. Most of them have absolutely inept ATSs in the first place.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I've seen that there's something in the pipelines of ATSs.
This will break your heart. I did a huge program of work last year with Sue Ingram, and we went to India, Poland, and the USA twice to deliver to this company all about candidate experience, partnering with hiring managers, all this great stuff we've been talking about. And then somebody, without listening to the input of the TA function, implemented a HRIS add-on ATS, which was nothing more than a glorified spreadsheet. And when you talk about knockout questions, so this particular industry, particularly in the US, they have to answer everybody, no matter what. So everyone has to have a manual, like this is a knockout, or a reply, right? And they can't really automate it. They need to literally open. And it basically meant there would be no knockout questions per role. They would be a global set. So their applications are going to skyrocket. So we've just spent all this energy and time training them on something they're not even about to use because they just lost all their time because somebody decided without the input of TA, which goes back to the beginning of the problem, which is TA has a perception problem. So where I'm less bothered about candidates using AI, I think they'll just shoot themselves in the butt because it'll look crap, and they'll just get deselected. Where I would like to see recruiters using AI better is things like, the name's gone out of my head, but where you can use it for you're having your meeting and it's creating the notes for you.
No, not Meta.
MetaView.
MetaView. That's
MetaView.
It,
yeah, I love MetaView. So they're creating meeting notes, right? I don't want to see it being like ChatGPT being used to create job descriptions and outreach messages, whatever you want to call them, because they'll all end up the same in vanilla. But I'd rather you save the time writing up the meeting notes because you're having such a great conversation with the hiring manager. They're saving you time there, and then you use that to create the job description.
Yeah. Now this I agree. This is good.
So I would love areas. I also have an issue with, and I still have it. And again, it's in the book. There's a video AI tool which has been proven to be biased. I'm yet to see AI that isn't biased. So if it's being used to screen, you probably find it screening women out and people of color and anyone with a disability, and all the white men are getting through because it's mostly being created by white men.
Yeah, it's even the historical successful people.
Yeah, ChatGPT is more male users, so they're feeding it more information, which is more male centric. So again, think about what you're doing with it. Like, how is it helping you? Is it saving time, money, and hassle? Is it delivering a better?
Or is it creating more problems?
Creating more problems?
In my previous podcast, I was talking to Ben Ford, and he's a engineer, and we were talking about systems thinking, but translating that into people talk, right? So our kind of language in recruitment. And it's all about how you have a lot of companies have siloed systems, so they're all over the place. They're not connected, no integrations. There's no like single source of truth on your people, or the whole talent and people operating system.
Which is why there are these little ATS plugins to the HR information system. They're all crap.
Yes,
they are. Sorry,
find me a good ATS. Find me a good ATS.
ATSs are independent. There are good ATSs. There's about 3 of them, and I'm not going to name them.
No,
and
I
they're
know.
Independently created, and they have to plug into the HRIS. They're not a vendor selling to a very naive HR person who goes, "Oh, that's free, fantastic."
Yeah. No, and this is the problem, and I find that's where we're going. And I always say this is that you end up with the person that's like HR people will buy a tool that makes their life as easy as possible, which is they need an admin burden taken away from them. Yeah, and then they go, by the way, you get a free ATS. Oh, fantastic! And that's not thinking about the user. It's not thinking about the employee experience. It's not thinking about the candidate experience. There's nothing here.
I had a recruiter, I'm going back a bit, and so this is before AI, to be fair. Well, yeah, it has still been the little mice in the thing making it work. And she was in absolute tears because they had rolled out a new ATS, and for every single thing, it was like 5 more clicks. And she was getting that, is it carpal tunnel? And she just burst into tears and couldn't stop. The poor thing. It was like she'd been holding it in until she met me. And I was more staggered. They'd rolled this thing out. And at that point, it was like an iPad. And I was using this iPad that was sitting there to try and apply. And it was just dropping my application off. And I'm going, it's like...
No, it's horrible,
I know that new technology is never easy to roll out. But it's like, please speak to the experts. And again, this is why I take TA out of it, create it as its own. Look, some companies it's too small, but when it gets to a certain size, I just don't think it should be sitting in HR. I think it should be plugged into, like talking to, and marketing,
and giving you market intelligence. Exactly, but giving you that you need that market intelligence because they're the ones close to the market. They know how many people are available that you're going to be hiring for, and like you said, coming back before. A hiring manager's going, we need this type of person. And then you go, right, well, you do realize there's only 12 people in the whole world that do exactly what you're saying. And they're all in a job. And I've contacted them all. That's
why there's a beautiful rise of talent intelligence, which Toby Colshaw, I don't know if you know Toby Colshaw, but he'd be totally worth talking to. And his book is, you can't see it that way. That's really weird. You can only see the Robot Proof Recruiter up there. But anyway, that way on my shelf. And because there is an ability to be able to map the market and see where people are. And when he was working at Philips, he'd be going, don't open your factory there. We're never going to be able to hire. You need to open it over here where there are people. And it's like, we have this capability now that you've got to invest in your people.
And believe that it's going to do that. So
we haven't solved anything.
We haven't, but we've had a nice rant. I've enjoyed it. I am conscious of the time we've had. So I just want to end with 2 things, if possible. Okay. What do you think the top thing the industry needs right now to change? What's missing? What does it need?
Literally, the perception that leaders and I mean leaders, like so C-suite, etc., and managers have of talent acquisition. I need that perception to change. I'm going to do my bit. I'm going to get this book out there. Please buy it and give it to your managers. Hopefully they'll actually read it, because giving them a book doesn't mean anything. But I'm going to talk about it because it's daft. In my research of competitive titles, I could not really find another book that focuses on the importance of that meeting and what's required for that meeting and all the agreements and, this transparent world we live in and all this kind of stuff. So make your case, but you need to be talking to every single manager and getting them to understand what it is you do. Besides which fact, it will help you secure your role at the company. They won't just go, oh, overhead, we're not recruiting, goodbye. They might go, well, actually, let's hold on to John because he's got these transferable skills, or he's market mapping, or he's building a pipeline, or whatever. Like, we'll just get through this period. We'll just, we'll cope. But they're not going to do that if you don't talk to people. So I need to see far more of that.
Okay. So we need to work on perception.
Literally have a 15-minute coffee or half an hour coffee break with a leader once a week. Make that time. Find that time. And change the perception.
Okay. Perception.
It's not, I don't care who it is. It's not just up to the talent acquisition leaders. It's not up to the managers and the directors. I think it's up to all of us, no matter where we fall.
Yeah, to become the norm.
To become the norm.
Best practice. Like, hey, this is what's done. This is the expectation.
And also in your, what am I calling it? Recruitment alignment meeting. Love that. This is what I do. I am going to go and do this. These CVs, resumes, if you're in the US, don't float down from the sky. I am going to go and do this. And this is why I need this information, because I need to stand out from the 5 billion people who are online making all this noise, from all the other recruiters out there who are mass in-mailing. I need the proper information.
Yeah, it's never been more competitive. I really don't think it's ever been more competitive for talent.
To get someone's attention.
Because it's exactly that. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah.
And final thing,
you wanted two things, I gave you one.
I know. The other thing was, what top thing would you recommend a recruiter does to get better at this? What would you recommend what else could they do? Read your book. There we go. Everyone, download, go and buy Robot Role Recruiter.
Please try the Robot Proof Recruiter. Yeah, exactly. I mean, genuinely, it has 85 or something people who've contributed to it, because I don't want anyone to go, when did you last recruit? Fair point. I have lots of, it is so gritty. You'll cover it in post-it notes, write on it, but it covers everything, and it gives you chapter 5, all about the intake, but then how you can stand out, how you can write messages that stand out, how you can keep someone's attention in this very noisy world. It covers all of it. I'm very proud of it. And then when Conquer Hiring comes out, no idea, at some point this year, hand it to your managers.
Well, there we go. Exactly.
So I feel like I've hit the recruiter side, and then that'll be hitting the hiring manager side.
Yeah.
That I think is the quickest win as far as.
I think that's right. And I think the one thing I've taken away from talking with you a lot, and something I really agree with, it's about being human-centric, getting back to being human-centric again.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Even with rise of all the tools and all the stuff, the tools don't necessarily solve problems. They can actually magnify problems if you're, using a tool to do it at scale. So.
Yeah. I mean, Simone Heng wrote a book which was all about loneliness and connection, and it's just become a bestseller because people are missing that connection. And so it's like, that's what it's about. And I mean, really, we can so easily get onto one of these calls and, be watching somebody's facial expressions and being able to have these conversations. So it's just really crucial, make a bit more of an effort.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
well, it's been absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. And I'll be sure to put the link to the book in the bio of the podcast. But thank you for being on.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.